You've probably felt it, the sudden unease in a room full of chatter, the fake laughs, the repetitive stories that seem to drain instead of energize. Small talk, once tolerable, now feels unbearable. The conversations that once passed as social glue now feel shallow, empty, and strangely exhausting. You're starting to notice the cracks, the patterns, the invisible walls between what people say and what they feel. And if you're watching this, it's because you've been waking up, quietly stepping into a higher level of awareness, a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Today we're going to explore why small talk becomes unbearable after spiritual awakening, what it really means for your mind and your energy, and how you can navigate social spaces without losing yourself. By the end, you'll see the invisible threads connecting your discomfort to your growth, and you'll finally understand why this is a sign that you're moving toward a life that feels authentic, aligned, and charged with purpose. You notice it first in casual settings like coffee shops, office chatter, or family gatherings. Conversations that used to feel easy now leave you restless, almost itching to leave. You start to realize that your awareness has shifted. You're no longer satisfied with surface-level exchanges, empty pleasantries, or conversations that revolve around gossip, trends, or opinions that carry no weight. There's a subtle discomfort, a friction that tells you something has changed within you. It's as if your inner world has expanded, your sensitivity heightened, and suddenly the ordinary feels unbearable. But this is not a flaw. It's a signal that you're stepping out of autopilot living and beginning to crave depth, meaning, and authenticity in every interaction. And yet, even as you crave deeper connections, there's a tension. The world hasn't caught up to your evolution, and in that space, you begin to notice patterns in others that you couldn't see before, and one of them is the art of avoidance, of distraction, and of meaningless repetition. You'll realize that this isn't just small talk. It's a mirror of the surface-level consciousness that most people operate from. And suddenly you're seeing life behind the mask, and it's unnervingly clear. And here's the twist you might not expect. Your discomfort isn't just a side effect, it's a guide, a compass pointing you toward interactions that truly matter, and away from those that drain your energy silently, leaving you questioning your own patience. As your awareness deepens, you start noticing the language people use, the phrases that feel rehearsed, the stories retold as if each time they are revealing something new, but they're really just echoes. You catch yourself zoning out in conversations that used to entertain or distract you. There's a mental friction, a subtle resistance to engage in the patterns that once felt familiar. You begin to crave silence or conversations that feel real, raw, and unpolished. This is where the awakening shows its paradox. You feel more connected to truth, yet more disconnected from the average social rhythm. And that realization hits like a spark. You understand that your mind now seeks resonance, and small talk fails because it is built on habit, not resonance. Here's where most people miss it. The urge to escape isn't a rejection of humanity. It's a signal that your consciousness is tuning into frequencies others haven't yet discovered. And while it feels isolating, it's also the first sign that your social energy is becoming sacred, that the way you spend your attention is evolving in ways that most will never notice. But there's something even more profound waiting around the corner, something about the nature of communication itself, and why your discomfort is actually a key to your next level of growth. Then comes the subtle internal struggle. You want to connect, you want to relate, yet something inside recoils at repetition, small talk, or conversations that feel mechanical. You start noticing that the energy exchange feels unbalanced, that some people talk to be heard but never to listen, and you cannot help but feel drained by it. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. You've begun to notice the weight behind words, the energy behind conversations, and suddenly the trivial feels jarring. And this is where the mind becomes both a blessing and a burden. You see the superficiality of the majority, and your longing for depth becomes sharper, more insistent. You'll start observing the invisible code that runs social interactions, the unspoken rules of small talk, and realize that your soul craves substance over form. And here's a truth that hits harder than expected. This discomfort is not something to escape from. It's something to lean into, something to understand, because inside it lies the map to authentic relationships, to conversations that don't just pass time, but expand your awareness, your clarity, your influence, and yes, even your joy. But this realization comes with a question. If the world stays the same, how do you engage without losing your energy? without closing off entirely? The answer is closer than you think. You begin experimenting. You sit in rooms full of chatter and realize that listening becomes an art form. You notice the stories people tell, the layers of meaning they reveal, and you start seeing patterns that were invisible before. Small talk becomes a test, a filter, a way to gauge who matches your wavelength. You'll find that your patience becomes a currency, your attention a resource, and every interaction begins to matter more than it ever did. And here's the paradox. The very conversations that once felt unbearable now become opportunities to discern who deserves your energy, who resonates with your new frequency, and who is content to remain on autopilot. And just when you think you understand this, you notice the subtle magic in a rare conversation that truly clicks, a spark that feels like recognition, as if the person sees you, not your image, not your mask, but the depth of what you're becoming. And it's in these moments that the awakening rewards your patience, revealing that your discomfort wasn't a punishment, but a secret guide pointing you to authenticity. Yet there's still more hidden beneath the surface, a dimension of human connection most overlook, and you're about to see it. Finally, you come to a revelation. Small talk isn't inherently wrong, but it's a reflection of the level of awareness in any given room. The discomfort you feel is evidence that your consciousness has expanded beyond habitual chatter, beyond repetition and distraction, toward higher engagement, emotional clarity, and meaningful energy exchange. You begin to understand the invisible boundary between draining interactions and empowering ones. And with that clarity, your social world transforms. You stop participating in conversations that don't nourish your growth, and instead, you move toward spaces that challenge you, excite you, and awaken insight. You start seeing every interaction as an opportunity to align with purpose, and suddenly, social life becomes an instrument, not a trap. And if you felt isolated or misunderstood, you now see that this isn't a curse. It's a sign that you're evolving, that your mind is recalibrating, and that the depth you crave is not only attainable, but inevitable. And here's the final twist. The very discomfort that once made you restless is now your most powerful tool for personal growth, connection, and influence, but only if you embrace it fully, without compromise, without pretense, without retreat. Now take a moment and acknowledge what's happening within you. The tension, the impatience, the quiet urge to step away from meaningless chatter, these are your guides, not your enemies. Small talk no longer drains you. It teaches you, filters your energy, and shows you exactly where your attention and presence are most needed. Your awakening isn't just about seeing the superficial. It's about claiming your time, your energy, and your clarity as sacred. And as you step into that awareness, you'll notice that real conversations begin to flow effortlessly, that connection becomes more profound, and that your social world starts to match the depth of your inner world. This is your transformation, from exhaustion to empowerment, from frustration to discernment, from surface-level chatter to meaningful engagement. Every moment of discomfort is a doorway, and now you can walk through it consciously. If this connected with you, thank you for watching until the end. Like and subscribe, because your journey matters, your awakening matters, and the more you step into clarity, the more your life will transform in ways that once felt impossible. Remember, small talk may feel unbearable now, but it's the signal that your consciousness has expanded, and that expansion is exactly where your growth, your freedom, and your authentic connections begin.